3, 2, 1.
What we are doing today is a representation of what public service and government is all about. Regional Medical Center has long been such an important asset in the eastern part of our county, a life-saving asset that has transformed so many families' lives. Bringing regional into Santa Clara Valley Healthcare System, integrating it, providing holistic care, care with a level of excellence and commitment, is going to transform lives. It's going to save lives.
We are restoring critical, life-saving services to our community through this important acquisition. With the reopening of RMC, Regional Medical Center, under our county's guidance.
Today, we're saying loud and clear, if you live in the east side or the surrounding areas, your life, your health, and your family matters. It's about ensuring that where you live doesn't determine whether you live.
We know how important it is to have quality health care close to home. When my father was hit by a car and left on the side of the road, he was taken to Regional Medical Center. When my mother-in-law had a stroke, she was brought to Regional Medical Center. For years, the Regional Medical Center staff has been part of our family, and now I am so proud to be able to say that I'm part of yours.
This county has saved access to health care for tens of thousands of San Jose and other nearby residents.
Our county will continue to provide access to care no matter what happens. And I think that's really the strength of this county. When everything seems to be going backwards nationally, here we are in Santa Clara County moving forward.
It's a really exciting moment for all those in the county who really need and have not had access to the care they deserve in East San Jose. County is so excited to take over operation of Regional Medical Center to restore trauma services, stroke services, STEMI services, and to be able to deliver amazing care to residents of East San Jose.
When people talk about healthcare service, people talk about the accessibility of those services. Back in 2020, the labor and delivery service at Regional Medical Center was closed. It is also our intention to bring back that important service to the community. Along with trauma, stroke services, and STEMI, heart attack care, we're talking about critical services that we have to bring back to the community to save lives and to change lives.
Right. Like folks, pin. Still trying to get used to add pin. All right. Hey everyone. So yeah, welcome to the info session for Chief Nursing Executive. So the video that you just watched was filmed during the reopening of the Regional Medical Center, part of Santa Clara Valley Healthcare System. So these healthcare facilities collectively fall under the oversight of our Chief Nursing Executive, who provides nursing leadership and direction across all sites. So we wanted to share this video with you because it captures the significant impact this role will have on the community. So with that said, my name is Adrian Kudal, and I will be the co-moderator of today's info session. And I will now pass the baton over to my colleague Quinn, who will lead us through the rest of today's discussion. Take it away, Quinn.
Welcome, everybody, and good morning. I hope your day is going well. My name is Quinn Trong from Executive Services, and I am the Senior HR Analyst overseeing this recruitment. Adrian dropped in the chat my email contact, so if you have any questions about this recruitment, your application, feel free to email me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Again, as we mentioned, the purpose of this informational session is to give you, our prospective applicants, a chance to learn more about this position and help you decide if this leadership role is the right one for you. Joining me today to help us get a deeper dive into this role is none other than our hiring authority, the County of Santa Clara Health System's Chief Executive Officer, Paul Lorenz. He was also in the video.
And then Paul.
Yes. So Paul, please introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your background. What brought you here in this role?
Thank you, Quinn and Adrian, for that. And actually, it was really nice to see that video. It's hard to believe it's been over a year since Regional Medical Center has become part of our healthcare system, and it's doing incredibly well in terms of service to our community. Just way of background. So again, my name's Paul Lorenz. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Santa Clara Valley Healthcare. I actually arrived here about 14 years ago, and I've been in public healthcare for close to 37 years, believe it or not. And as you can imagine, when I arrived in Santa Clara County, this was at the time in which the Affordable Care Act was being implemented nationally. And as a public system, there was a lot of concern relative to how public systems were going to be able to manage the change relative to reimbursement. And obviously, our core mission is to ensure that we provide healthcare for every individual in our community, to ensure that they have access to care. It's a deeply rooted mission in public healthcare, as most of you know, and it's no different here as well as in Santa Clara County. And more so, I arrived here when there was tremendous support from our County Board of Supervisors to navigate this challenge. What I can tell you today, this healthcare system has grown from a one hospital system to a 4-hospital system. The operating budget grew from essentially around $1.2 billion. Our operating budget today is around $4.8 billion. The number of employees has also grown, as you would expect, to around 13,000 individuals in our healthcare delivery system. The expectation in terms of our role as leaders, and particularly this position here, is really about trying to maintain a system that ultimately delivers on that commitment to the public, that we ensure that every individual has access to basic and essential healthcare services. And this role, the Chief Nursing Executive, is a critical part of that. It is one of the key leadership positions in the healthcare system. You should know that as a healthcare system, we've evolved. We now have an enterprise-wide structure, and then we also have, at each of our respective hospitals in our divisions, we have a nursing director. And this Chief Nursing Executive is responsible for coordinating and managing all aspects of the entire enterprise alongside of me, the Chief Medical Officer, the Chief Quality Officer, the Chief Operating Officer, and other support positions, as you can imagine, the Chief Financial Officer, facilities, etc. But those of you that, of course, are on this call realize that it's really important that we work together as a team, not just at the executive level, but throughout the organization. So I'm really excited about this opportunity to talk to all of you about this position, and I'll turn it back over to Quinn for some additional questions.
Absolutely. Thank you, Paul. That's great that you gave us a really great summary of this position, the people that they're going to be collaborating with. For those that are live here at our session today, for any topics or questions you may have as you're hearing me or Paul talk about during this session, please feel free to ask any of the questions in the chat or the question and answer chat box, and we'll be able to answer those questions as they come up. So you can use it to submit any questions you may have for us. We'll do our best to address them. All right. So Paul, you already mentioned a little bit about the position and who is going to work with the position, and how it contributes to the department's mission and the county's objectives. Can you walk through and let us know what would you say is some of the biggest challenges for this role right now?
Gosh, I'm going to try to keep this to a few key topics. I think those of us that are in healthcare today appreciate the fact that it is constantly shifting and changing on us, not just in terms of where a particular healthcare system sits relative to the market, but how the healthcare system navigates its mission relative to its service population. Because I would tell all of you, and I think you appreciate this, that when you talk about healthcare system, it's really about the population for which they're trying to serve and care for. And healthcare is much more segmented than it ever has been today. And what I mean by that is that most healthcare systems pay very close attention to their margins and their financial viability. And that's actually no different for us as a public system. The challenge that we have, though, is that because of who we care for, which is the entire community, and particularly those that do not have health care, we are in a very fragile situation because of some recent changes relative to HR 1, where the Medicaid funding, and here in California, Medi-Cal funding, is being drastically reduced. And as a public healthcare system, one of the largest in the nation, we're the second largest publicly owned and operated county healthcare system in California. And probably in terms of per capita, and I say probably, I should say we are actually the largest healthcare delivery system per capita. And what I mean by that is that we serve 1 in 4 county residents. We provide healthcare to 1 in 4. We serve approximately 70% of the Medicaid eligible, Medi-Cal eligible. And now, today, since the acquisition of the hospital, we serve a large percentage of the Medicare population. In fact, we're the largest acute care hospital provider to Medicare recipients in the county of Santa Clara. So you can get a sense of what impact and service obligations we have. And because financially, as I mentioned, HR 1 has a devastating impact to this healthcare system, budgeting today is much more difficult. And so we have to really focus on our service lines, further integration, so that we can leverage the system to a much greater degree in terms of our resources, be much more efficient in the delivery of care, while making sure that we hold true to our mission. That is a major challenge because, as you well know, funding is a very critical component of how you deliver care. So that's one part of the challenge. And as you can imagine, the related challenge is how do you maintain accessibility and quality of care when you're dealing with such budget challenges and constraints. So this position, the nursing executive, along with the rest of the leadership team and the organization as a whole, really needs to put forward patient care, quality, safety at the forefront of what we do. And so it's really important that I have, and we together, if you will, as an organization, have that understanding, that commitment. The way you lose confidence in terms of the public and your patients is that you don't deliver on that very important aspect of healthcare, which is safe, quality patient care. And that's a big challenge for us. The third component, which is also related, is how do you maintain a workforce with these challenges? You have these budget challenges, you have this expectation to deliver on continuing the access, right, to care, maintaining the quality, meeting the standard that you would expect for your family. You have to have a viable and supported workforce. They have to feel valued. They have to feel as though that they're part of the solution and that they're able to do what they train to do and want to do in terms of delivering that quality patient care. And to be a part of an organization where they feel supported by their colleagues and not just leadership. It really is a very team-focused culture that we're trying to develop here across not just the nursing disciplines, but across the organization relative to working with other healthcare professionals. So, I mean, I would put those three areas at the top of my list. And how you maintain a workforce ranges from not in just in terms of recruitment, hiring, but really trying to figure out how you maintain a healthy, well supported workforce.
Yeah, thank you, Paul, for that. Let's revisit what you were talking about in terms of the folks that this position is going to be working with. I know that we wanted to know more about the position. One question being, can you let us know why this position is vacant?
Yes, so we have been very fortunate here in Santa Clara County and in this healthcare system because, we have had individuals in particular roles that have moved up through the organization. But to the most important point, that have been part of this organization for a long time, very, very much so in terms of tenured. But those individuals in particular are the executives have been in healthcare for quite some time. So I can tell you that our previous chief nursing officer executive worked in other health systems, but ultimately came back and worked her way up as not from a manager all the way up through the chief nursing executive role. There comes a time when we all have to retire, and that's exactly what she did. And to her credit, she did a marvelous job and was very well respected within the organization. And so was the previous chief nursing executive. The last one was a ED nurse and ED nurse manager and worked her way up. The one previous to that, Jill Sproul, was one of our burn nurses, became the nurse manager, then ultimately became our chief nursing executive. But I would say to all of the potential candidates that we are looking for someone that can carry forward the mission of the organization, be an individual that can be respected in terms of their commitment to the nursing profession and the growth of the nursing profession, but also have a very deep commitment to serving our patient population in our community. And that can be anybody. And I would say to every potential candidate that whether you're coming internally from internal of the organization and externally, we are looking for someone that can really carry on the great work of previous nurse executives and nurse leadership within this organization.
Yes, adding on to all of the accomplishments that have been previously made. Now, I know we have candidates from our public sector, private hospitals. Can you walk us through when you say enterprise-wide? Walk us through what that means for us and then where this role is and how big the team is.
As you can imagine, we were a one hospital system, and in 2019, we acquired two other hospitals, St. Louis Regional Hospital and O'Connor Hospital. And then more recently, as you well know, Regional Medical Center. On top of that, we've grown our outpatient system, both primary care and specialty. Um, the, the the organization has grown to the point in which we've taken on a comprehensive and integrated approach to the way in which we deliver care. And therefore, we have an enterprise structure so that we can standardize care across the system um, and leverage the system in terms of developing centers of excellence, et cetera. And so this position, along with the other enterprise executives, as we call it, will work together to ensure that we are delivering care in a manner that's integrated, that's standardized, and that leverages the resources that we have across the four hospitals and the large outpatient system that we do have.
Okay, great. Switching gears now to talk about the employment standards or minimum qualifications for this position. Our job specifications are on our website for all positions. For this specific one, the chief nursing executive must possess an active registered nurse license issued by the California Board of Registered Nursing. A master's degree is required, preferably in nursing or healthcare, hospital business administration, or related field. And then increasing experience in nursing administration, sufficient to demonstrate possession and application of the knowledge and abilities listed in the job specification. With that said, it is broad to capture as much as possible the experiences that we're looking in our candidate. However, a master's degree is required and a registered nurse license as well. So given that, we're looking for approximately 5 to 10 years of increasing experience and responsibility in nursing administration, a significant amount of which should be in senior nursing management, preferably in a teaching hospital. However, we're looking at private and public hospitals as well. With that said, that's the general employment standards for this position. We're always looking above in terms of finding the right person for this role. So, Paul, this is where I'm going to bounce to you in terms of, for you, what does success mean in this role? What are we looking for in the ideal candidate?
So Quinn, I would say to those on the call that that first and foremost that I would, and I believe it's just not me, many other leaders, but in particular the staff, would answer that question by saying to all of you that the individual is able to garner the respect of those within the organization around some very basic and key components of any leadership. One of which is that they're deeply committed to our patients and our community, that they understand the North Star, that they are first and foremost a public servant relative to serving the greater good of the community. Throughout the years that I've been in public service, I will tell you that employees know and get a sense of really where your commitment is to the community and to our patients. I think the other part of this is that they're seen as an individual that will continuously advocate for the nursing profession and the practice that they chose to be a part of. And that runs the wide range of supporting them in their day-to-day work, in their ability to deliver high-quality care, safe patient care, but also allow them pathways to grow within their profession. And so I think people will pay attention to those two things that, to a large degree, I think the success of many leaders in the organization fall in those two areas, that we are always looking to develop our employees and support them, and not just around the way they practice, but also paying attention to their well-being, and their ability to do their job. I think those aspects of any leader that are common outside of the nursing profession are also really critical. And I'm speaking of, everything from the financial and acumen relative to budgeting and et cetera, and making sure that we stay on course. But those aren't the things that really the staff pay attention to. They're important, they're critically important, but they're not what makes a successful nurse leader. They're humble, they're respectful of everyone within the organization, and they're able to walk the talk, if you will.
Yeah, great. Building trust.
Yes.
Gaining respect.
Integrity, all those things that you would expect.
Yes. So those are great things to start with. We do have a question in the chat, actually, and this will drill down more on what our applicants are asking. And that is a little bit tied into what we were just discussing, Paul. What are some of the top priorities of this role for you right now at this time?
Well, I've kind of alluded to them, but let me get a little bit more specific, since that question was asked. I think the most important thing for any leader coming to organization is to first get grounded in terms of what's going on within the organization, and really understanding from other leaders, but also in particular the workforce, of what's important to them. I can tell you from my experience, and other leaders can tell you what's at the forefront of people's thoughts and minds, but I think it's really important that this individual who ever comes in the role takes the time to form and develop their own opinion and to share in the strategic work that we have ahead of us. With that being said, there's no doubt that this organization has grown quite rapidly in a very short period of time, and that we have a lot of work to do relative to making sure that we're across this large enterprise maintaining a standard of care that we would otherwise expect. And so for me, it's around making sure that we're integrating this healthcare system while also maintaining a very high standard relative to patient care around quality and safety. And that comes down to how nurses practice, how physicians practice, and how they work together as one team. And that is a daunting task if you think about it, because every service line within this organization has its own subculture. And the question is, how do you work with those subcultures and create an overall organizational culture, and set a standard relative to delivery of healthcare? That is a major undertaking, and I don't expect any one person to do it alone. And so it's going to be really important that this individual build and establish a team that is effective in that task.
Right. Thank you. Let's before this person can come in and build the culture, can you describe what the current culture and morale is of the organization? What can they expect?
Well, I will say this to any individual, and not just to potential candidates for this position, is that this is an organization that has been very fortunate to have staff that are here for a reason. And that reason is because of our mission. Of course, not everyone is, fully committed because, it's also a job. But let me just say this, the vast majority of people that are here care deeply about the patients that we care for. And they are very strong advocates for those patients. And make no mistake about it, they will go to great lengths to make sure that people know that, in particular leaders. And they expect leaders to also, as I mentioned earlier, be committed to that. And that's something I think we're very fortunate to have. Employees here are not afraid to speak up. And that's something that I really value as a public organization, because those opinions, whether we agree with them or not, make the difference in terms of making sure that we're accountable. And so that's something that I think people should know about the employees that work within this organization. And on top of it, they really care for each other. I don't think there's a day that goes by that I don't encounter where staff are looking out for one another. And that's quite notable. And I think it's important to understand that the culture we're trying to develop is a culture where not only are they looking out for each other, but they're also looking to support everyone within the organization to be successful.
So I don't have the day-to-day interactions with your nursing staff and your hospital staff, Paul. In my experience with them on interview panels and as part of this process, I can tell that, gosh, you have people that are so passionate about what they do and wanting to not only really have that camaraderie with each other, but understanding that our services bring hope to our community. So that's really nice the way you described that. And I see it and I feel it and it's embraced. So speaking of, can you just provide us a description of the in-person work expectations for this position and how that supports the team and the service delivery?
Well, that's a pretty easy one for me to answer, which is having a presence.
Mm-hmm.
And that presence is not just here within the organization, but in the community. And so there's no doubt that this is a pretty hefty responsibility. It doesn't take me to tell you that. All you need to do is look at the scope of the system and our commitment and our obligation to the community. So it is no doubt a lot of work relative to your time, but it is a 24-hour-a-day job, if you will. And I just want to be very clear about that. But the reality is that it is all dependent upon how you surround yourself with individuals that share the same level of commitment um, to the organization and to our patients, and particularly to the staff that need to feel that support.
In person is absolutely required. Okay.
Yeah, you can't have a presence unless you're physically present. So
Correct. Okay, we do have another question in the chat, Paul. Social determinants of health is a major driver in health and chronic diseases. As a response to the needs of the community, are there projects in process or plans to bridge any gaps in the county of Santa Clara?
that's a great question. The answer is yes, absolutely. And even as we're dealing with all these budget challenges, the system continues to grow. I mean, not only through the acquisition of Regional Medical Center, but through other strategies that will help balance the system from a financial perspective. So let me give you a few examples. In November, we'll be opening up a new behavioral health pavilion. That behavioral health pavilion, the county has invested over $600 million to build. And we're very pleased that we'll be opening up in November. And that will not only include new facilities for our adult population in terms of inpatient acute psychiatric services, but also emergency psychiatric services, mental health services for our adult population, but it will have a fully committed unit for children and adolescents. And that's a new service line for the county health system to offer the community. And that's because there's a huge need in the community for acute psychiatric services, not just for adult, but particularly children and adolescents. So that's coming online. So we are in the process of hiring and recruiting staff to staff that unit. We're also opening up a new Valley Health Center. It's called Valley Health Center San Jose Campbell down the street. It's over 250,000 square feet, has over 215 exam rooms. But it is where we're relocating existing services to a new facility. That's a huge investment because we're looking to our future. We're trying to make sure that we continue to meet the standard and expectations of the community. We're also expanding our efforts around primary care, where we just took on July 1, a family medicine residency program from Stanford. So we're bringing that in-house. We are going to be sponsoring institution, and we are going to administer and manage that program. And we are continuing to look to expand primary care, but also specialty, where we're looking to open up more clinics, hire more providers, because our focus to the question is community health. And the way you maintain community health is to make sure that people have early access to preventive health care services, primary care, that we manage the chronic conditions in the outpatient setting instead of in our emergency rooms and in our hospitals. So we are making a heavy investment in outpatient services while we're also supporting and growing our centers of excellence on the acute patient side.
Thank you. All right. Feel free to add in more questions you may have as you are hearing us in this process. I would like to take this time to just talk about what this process applying with the County of Santa Clara looks like. Regarding this recruitment, it is scheduled to be continuous, so it will remain open until the position is filled. The first review of applications is Monday, August 24th. Applicants that meet the employment standards will then undergo a competitive screening based on desirable qualifications. This step will identify candidates who will be invited to the panel interview process. And at that point of the panel interview process, once you go through that, then the next step would be the finalist interviews for hire. Okay. With that said, at every step of the process, you will be getting an email from me letting me know where you're at. So please be on the lookout for that. Sometimes, depending on your email, it does tend to also potentially go into spam or so please make sure to just look at all the different folders or keep us on the safe list so that way you'll get emails from us. Okay. With that said, Adrian, do you want to talk through the benefits?
Sure, yeah. It's that time. All right, so give me one second. I'm going to try to be a little fancy here. So please bear with me. So we're going to quickly talk about, just do like a quick promotion or plug of our executive recruitment page. So I'm going to project my screen real quick. And select that. All right. See how this goes. All right, so yeah, again, as Quinn mentioned before we proceed with our Q&A, and again, so if you have any additional questions for us, please don't hesitate to use the chat button or chat section of this portal. And again, this is like one of the few opportunities that you can actually hire our hiring manager directly of any questions related to recruitment. So take advantage of that opportunity. So again, so just would like to quickly promote the County of Santa Clara's executive recruitment page. So if you'd like to learn more and hopefully apply to this role and many other executive leadership job opportunities with the County of Santa Clara, I'm projecting right now, right behind me, the landing page. You can go to this portal by going to www.sccjobs.org/exec recruitment, which I also did drop at the very beginning of our session in the chat. So in here, you will also learn how it's like to work as an executive leader in the county, and also explore our very generous leadership executive benefits package, such as our financial. So let me just quickly click on where this portal is. So if you click on underneath extraordinary benefits, you'll be landed to this benefits page. So yeah, right here, you'll learn about our pension, retirement investment plans, both pre-tax and post-tax, county paid term life insurance, and also like the 39-day of annual leave that comes with cash out options, tuition reimbursements, and many others. So this landing page aims to showcase the many reasons why you should choose the County of Santa Clara for your next executive leadership role. Again, the website is www.sccjobs.org/exec recruit. All right. So while we are waiting for additional questions, maybe we can give it like a minute or two.
Actually, Paul, I have a question for you.
Take it away, Quinn.
You always seem to be in a great mood whenever I see you. What do you enjoy most about working in your role? Because I know you have those hard days as well.
Well, I think we all have our ups and downs, but I think the one thing that I enjoy most are the colleagues and the people I get to work with. And I will say when I do have bad days or challenging days, however you want to characterize it, you know, the one thing that I have the ability to do is actually go out and see our employees and our patients in the hospital. Just get away from the daily grind of the administrative and the politics of running a hospital, and get down to to a point in which you can appreciate what you're actually doing for the patients in the community. And so that helps me a great deal, I will tell you. And that's one of the joys of my job is the rewards of the hard work that many of us put in.
Right. Before we close, we want to just thank you to our participants for showing up today, watching this live. We hope that this session has been insightful. Thank you to Paul and Adrian. If you, as a participant, have any additional questions, my email address is in the chat. We're always looking to improve these informational sessions. So if you found this conversation helpful or have any ideas on how we can improve them in the future, please make time to take a brief survey that we're sending your way. Also, this last one goes to Paul before we conclude, and that is, for anyone that wants to have an impactful leadership career, Paul, why this role, why now, and why the County of Santa Clara?
Why now? I'll start with that. The reality is that as a public system, we are faced with some significant challenges, and there are a lot of people that are depending on us. We're not just the patients we care for on a day-to-day basis, but really the entire community. And so they are looking for this healthcare system to navigate these very difficult challenges and deliver on maintaining the overall health of our community. And what better challenge if you're committed to public service than this challenge? And most of you may or may not know this, but the County of Santa Clara is a very rich county relative to the technology, being the Silicon Valley. They actually stepped up and voted for Measure A, which provided over $300 million to this healthcare system. This is during the time. This is this past November, during a time in which the cost of living everywhere has gone up, and to think that government is asking for money from the public to support this public system, and then they turn around and support it is a big deal. So there's no better time to join a system that has the confidence of the public, and then for us to work together to deliver on that promise, if you will. And you have a workforce that is committed to this mission. And so to be part of an organization that's able to deliver on that and is something for me very special.
Right. Thank you. We do have one more question, Paul.
Sure.
Are the staff engagement activities in practice now? What does that look like?
Any successful staff engagement effort requires the entire organization to be engaged or be a part of. And it starts at the top, but also is dependent upon every single leader within the organization. And that's something that we are continuously working on. We now have quarterly forums for all staff. I go to each hospital. It's in person and virtual to make sure that the employees and the entire organization is informed about what's going on, and they have the opportunity to interact with not only myself, but other executive leaders. That has been going well, and that we're excited about that. But we have much more work ahead of us relative to making sure that it's happening at all levels of the organization, where staff feel as though that they're being listened to and that they're being communicated with. And that's a constant challenge. And so I'm looking forward to having a partner, if you will, in the chief nursing executive to deliver on that work.
Right. And thank you to the chat for giving us instantaneous feedback on what a great opportunity this is to get to know more about the position. So with that said, this concludes our virtual information session. And thank you so much for coming. Hope I'm looking forward to reviewing your application. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.